start our recording. We are all set.
Okay, your roll call?
Mayor Jacobs?
Here.
Committeeman Hickey?
Yeah, there. Go.
Mr. Strakoff?
Here.
Mr. Travellini is not here yet. Mr. Rodelius?
Here.
Mr. Leonard?
Here.
Mr. DiGiovanni? Not yet. Mr. Zupnik?
Present.
Ms. Orabana?
Here.
Mr. Walter?
Here.
Chairwoman Gutschall?
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Bedminster Township Land Use Board was filed with the Township Clerk, sent to the Bernardsville News and the Courier News, and to all subscribers, and posted at the Township Municipal Building, 1 Miller Lane, Bedminster, New Jersey, on January 12, 2021.
Okay, we need the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance
to
to
the flag
flag of the United States of America,
To the
to the
republic
republic,
for which it stands,
one nation,
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible.
indivisible,
with liberty,
liberty and justice for all.
Oh, that was all right.
Not bad for
Not
snow.
bad,
Yeah.
not bad, pretty good
Not bad.
tonight.
It's about the same
No,
as the
that
township
ended-
committee meeting the other night, so.
That ended better than it started, put it that way.
And Mr. Travellini has joined us.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Rich.
Rich,
everybody.
Rich?
Is there anyone from the public on, Janine?
There is not.
There is not. Okay, so we can close the public portion if there's no comments there. We have two resolutions tonight to approve. 2021-007, adopting the amendment to the master plan, amending the land use element and housing plan element. Office Research Village Mixed Use ORVMU District. Do I hear a motion?
so moved.
Seconded.
Roll call, Janine?
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Committeeman Hickey?
Aye.
Mr. Strakoff?
Aye.
Mr. Travellini?
Aye.
Mr. Rodelius?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. DiGiovanni is still not here. Mr. Zupnik?
Aye.
Ms. Orabana?
Aye.
Mr. Walter?
Aye.
Chairwoman Gutschall?
Aye. And our second one is Resolution 2021-008. That is for the 2021 Master Plan Reexamination Report. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, Janine?
Mayor Jacobs?
Aye.
Committeeman Hickey?
Aye.
Mr. Strakoff?
Aye.
Mr. Travellini?
Aye.
Mr. Rodelius?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. DiGiovanni is still not here. Mr. Zupnik?
Aye.
Ms. Orabana?
Aye.
Mr. Walter?
Aye.
Chairwoman Gutschall?
Aye, motion is passed. Okay, we're going on to the board discussion and master plan controversy review and referral report of the ORVMU ordinance introduced to Township Committee. Mayor, do you want to say something about that from Tuesday night's meeting?
Sure. So at Tuesday night's meeting, we introduced for first reading ordinance number 2021-002, subject to receipt of a consistency determination from the Land Use Board. The public hearing for this ordinance is scheduled for March 1st, 2021. The ordinance was introduced as recommended by the Land Use Board in the Master Plan Reexamination Report.
Were there any comments or changes?
No. Oh, no, let me tell the only change is we did receive the attachment, or sorry, Exhibit E from Stonefield Engineering with the proposed traffic improvements at the intersection of Burnt Mills Washington Valley Road and 202, 206, and also a plan showing the the right turn into the Bed 1 campus. So if you actually have your ordinance in front of you, if you go to attachment E, you see there's two drawings from Stonefield. One is showing the proposed changes at the intersection, and the other is showing the change to the turn into Bed 1 so that you promote 2 through lanes on 202 southbound. And this exhibit was certainly anticipated by the Land Use Board when the re-exam report was done. It just, Chuck was making some final edits to the plan before he finalized it, but he did finalize it in time for introduction of the ordinance.
Okay, so I guess that is subject to change if DOT or other comments come in. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Scott.
I've been reviewing the document, and I think the latest version that I saw has a typo at the top of page 7, talking about loading parking spaces. The text says 15 by 40, and then there are numerical values that say 15 by 30. I think that should be clarified somehow.
Yeah, I do. I think we agreed to reduce it to 15 by 30. I'll make that correction. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Thank you for picking it up. I didn't see that.
And
Thank you.
and you beat Nick to it.
I was going to say, Nick is passing his baton at the moment.
Good work.
Madam Chairman, there was one other addition, and that was Frank and Paul coordinated to make the zone map that was referenced in the document, but which basically the same map that Frank had done for the master plan district amendment. They made it into a zone map. That's what you do when you change the zoning by ordinance.
Right, I understand.
The zone map is an ordinance, so you change the zone map, and Paul will be working on updating the big picture zone map of the whole town, but that's a pretty big job. So
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
no, okay. And so what you're doing tonight, if you're ready, or when you're ready, is Frank could summarize his review report, but it's basically if you're ready, when you're ready, it's a motion to deem the proposed ordinance. And I'm satisfied with the phrase consistent with the master plan, because you actually amended the master plan last week, and it couldn't be more consistent than that. But Frank should summarize his review very quickly.
Yeah, because everybody on the board has been familiarized with this, because you've all participated throughout the process, I'll give you the short version that's just basically for the record. We're here to, under the statutory requirement in 4055D-26, what we're doing is telling the governing body whether or not this amendment to the ordinance is consistent with the master plan or not. The phrasing in the land use law, like Tom said, is very weird because they ask you to say a double negative. It's not inconsistent. But like Tom, I agree that when it is entirely consistent, say that. Why not, right? I mean, then it's clearly not inconsistent. The reasons we can say that about this is because the master plan has been explicitly amended to reflect the agreement that was made with Fair Share Housing and approved by the court that said, even though we have, let me check that, there's a table in this report that shows you that I think we have 980 total credits, 755 more than we need. And nonetheless, we had to come up with these 28 units. So the report goes through and acknowledges that the settlement required that the master plan has been amended so that the intent of the settlement is fulfilled by both the master plan and the master plan reexamination. We needed to provide 28 family rental affordable units. As you probably recall, 5 of them came out of the Elite project on Lamington Road. The other 23 will come from this project. The requirement in the settlement was not that we build them, but by this summer, we had to zone for those 28 units and then make it possible for a builder to do something with them. Many towns would have done the bare minimum here. In your case, the town aggressively pursued a developer that could give us what we needed and something really, I think, that will be energizing for downtown Pluckerman and in the long term, help to bring Pluckerman into the 21st century. And when I say that, all across New Jersey, there are small towns, villages, places that have unique charm and character that are trying to stay the way they are. And in many cases, if they don't grow some and bring in some of the foot traffic and other things that we keep hearing are so important, they're not going to change at all. And maybe that's what a lot of people would like, but I think when we bring more energy into that space, the old buildings don't go away. We still make sure that they're being protected with our ordinances. So what we're doing here, I think, is a very responsible version of community building in the downtown with this mixed use project. I'm not going to walk you through all this. My report, I think, says very clearly why we're doing it. It is important to note that as part of this, we've acknowledged that the site had to meet certain suitability requirements under the Council on Affordable Housing rules. They related to whether it's approvable, available, developable, and suitable. We made a very specific finding in the master plan that it was all of those things. And the only thing in my report that I would change from what it says is it was written before we adopted the land use plan amendment. So on page 4, the second paragraph from the bottom says, Bedminster is also anticipating. It should say Bedminster adopted a land use plan element and with the date, and I'll make that change. But I think, as Tom said, we've all been around the block on this one many times, and the master plan and the reexamination both make it very clear that we're going way above and beyond what most towns have ever tried to do, and yet we're doing everything we've been required to and agreed to do. So you should find that the ordinance is consistent with the master plan and the master plan reexamination. And it's specifically consistent with the land use plan of the master plan and the housing element and fair share plan.
Thank you, Frank, for all your work, and you, Tom, for everything you've done to bring this to.
Everybody did this, Carol. This was a big project. Thank you.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Okay, I'll check one more time. Is there anyone from the public here?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Any last questions? I think we've deliberated on this quite a bit.
Frank, it's Rich.
Had to read the last line of Frank's report twice.
Don't show it to your English grammar teacher, okay?
The double negative, I was like,
don't.
what is this?
They would take all my 90 plus scores in English and write them down 10 points for that.
Last line was tough.
Okay, so I assume now we need to take a roll call on this, Tom?
Frank, one quick question, Frank.
A motion.
Yes, a motion first, yes. Yes, go ahead, Rich.
I know we can't necessarily anticipate what what Trenton might foist upon us over the next 3 to 5 years, or what even Somerville might try to create. But there are forces out there that would destroy, and I do mean destroy, the suburbs as we know it. Bedminster went through a cataclysmic change to its character and nature 30 years ago when they built the hills. Yet the historical agenda for austerity, as we've continued to see in the 25 years that I've been living in town, control property taxes and minimize the impact of a growing school district and the things that have happened over the past 25 years or so has really been commendable by Larry and all the previous administrations and councils here in town. Do we really feel like, I think there was a great effort here for us to try to be proactive and have the kind of change that we're comfortable with, that accommodates some of the, objectives and goals that we had going into this, satisfying our requirements under fair housing, orders and the declaratory judgments and avoiding declaratory judgments and all those kinds of things. So, do we think this is going to? My question is this going to do us for a while? Do we think?
Well, Rich, I think we've talked about this quite a bit, and I don't want to speak for Frank, but it seems to me that we don't have a clue where we're going to go in the future. And I think to try to second guess that would really be wrong. So I think we're meeting our requirements and doing what we need to do in a very controlled way. Frank, you want to?
The only thing I would add, Carol, and maybe Tom would add something to this as well. The Hills came to us by way of a builder remedy case. That's what no town ever wants to have, is a builder remedy where they come in and do what they want instead of doing what you want. What you're doing by perfecting your judgment of compliance and repose with this rezoning, that's all you had to do was rezone it. If you never approved anything here, you met the requirement, but till July 1st, 2025, nobody can come after you for anything. And truly, with the 755 extra units that we have in the bank, the only thing anybody will ever come after you for will be more family rental units in the fourth round, because that's the only thing they can possibly say, I believe, from what I know today. And as Carol said, who knows what's evil lurks in the hearts of men in 5 years, but nonetheless, right? I'm sorry. But I mean, for right now, you've done everything you should have done well in terms of this process. And when you finish, when the governing body finishes adopting this ordinance, they've done everything they promised to do in the settlement. So till 2025, we're going to be trying to make sure we know where it's going, but you're good to go till then. And I think that's the important thing. Tom?
I totally agree with Frank, and I would just recommend that you just keep going forward the way you are. You have perhaps, I have a lot of experience in this, and you have one of the best settlements in the entire state of New Jersey. You have one of the best compliance records. You will continue to do that into the future. So, gold stars to you. I mean, you deserve it. You've made it work, and you are way ahead of most municipalities. So, compliments to you.
Let me say one other thing if I can. I don't want to drag this out, but I think it's important. Whenever we try to, in my work I do as a court master or as a town planner, there always seems to be this housing mandate where good planning has to go out the window because we've got to find a place to stick this housing. You guys have never done that. You're not doing that now. But the interesting thing is the last couple of times we've talked about the reexamination issues, village vitality is a really big one. This is a huge step in building village vitality. You've got thousands of people up the hill who, if Pluckerman was, it becomes an increasingly desirable place to go eat and all those things. If we can start to develop a greater number of restaurants, the stuff that happens in the places that just get developed, that foot traffic, I think that's going to be amazing. And I think with the Revolutionary War history we've got and everything, there are so many different touchstones that could help build Pluckerman as a really vibrant place. But putting a project like this with boots on the street where I walk out in the morning and across the street and get a cup of coffee, this is the start. And this is an important start. So unlike many of these cases where affordable units gets jammed over next to the railroad someplace that nobody wants to see it, here we're putting front and center a great mixed use project that I think everybody's going to be very proud of when we're done. And the process you went through, the design work that was done by you and the other side is the best I've ever seen in this kind of a process. So you should feel good about that.
Frank, we're gonna need you to bottle that and regurgitate that on March 1st at the public hearing, because I'm sure we'll have some folks who don't see it that way, but will need that vote of reassurance as to the process and the substance of this plan.
I'll just go back to the tape and write it all down, Larry. Thanks.
Sounds good. Does that answer your question, Rich?
Yeah, because I could, I appreciate that, guys, because now that after Elite, my profile on the planning board has been raised, and I'm have friends and neighbors asking me all about this, and I feel like we've done such a great job, but that doesn't mean we're not going to be criticized for it.
But Rich, one of the things you got to accept is that we are dealing with this in the context of a lawsuit that was settled. So we agreed to do something, and it's not as though it's entirely discretionary now. It's discretionary where it goes. Some people might not like where it's going, but the truth is there's no neighbors there, just about, so I think you should feel good about it. I wouldn't be defensive. But I would definitely lean back on the fact that this is part of what we promised it and what a court order says we will do.
I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty proud of the collaboration and all the work everybody here has done.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
really a special case. I gotta agree.
I agree. Okay, so let's have a motion. Who wants to give us a motion to?
Happy to
approve?
make a motion, Madam Chair.
And I'll second it.
Good, thank you. Okay,
And I'll
Janine.
just,
Yes, go ahead,
Janine,
Tom.
Janine, this is technically a motion to find the proposed ordinance that the committee recommended to us consistent with the master plan. And you should do a memo to the township committee confirming that, when you can, tomorrow or Monday, before the meeting of the committee for second reading.
Okay.
And now a roll call.
Mayor Jacobs.
Aye.
Committeeman Hickey.
Aye.
Mr. Strackoff.
Aye.
Mr. Travellini.
Aye.
Mr. Rodelius.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. DiGiovanni.
Aye.
There he is. Mr. Zupnik.
Aye.
Ms. Urbana.
Aye.
Mr. Walter.
He's muted.
He's muted.
You're muted, Tim.
Aye.
Chairwoman Gutschall.
Aye. All right, congratulations, everybody.
Yes.
I wish I saw more smiles on the screen. Richard looks like this is terrible.
Now he's sad. He's blowing his nose and everything.
You all did a good job. Thank you for letting me help you with this.
Again, thank you. Thank you for everybody.
Couldn't have done it without the pros. I mean, they had
You
the
got
they
that
had the
right.
answers.
That's right.
And you're all welcome to attend on March 1st.
Yeah, we need all the help we can get.
I'll put it on my calendar.
Okay. All right, we have Lamington Farm. Is there any changes with that, Paul? Is that the same?
No, there isn't. That's still postponed.
Still
with no-
postponed?
no new
Okay.
date.
Indefinitely, okay. And we have 20 Route 206, March 4th, our next meeting.
Well, I was in contact with them today with some of their professionals, and they have conflicts for March 4th. I would like to be on April 8th instead.
Okay, so we're moving that. So then we have nothing on for next March 4th, is that right?
That's correct. We have B and D on March 11th, but nothing on the 4th.
So I guess we have a vacation day.
Yay.
Yay! Okay, when did we schedule that again? April 8th, you said? Wait a minute.
April
let me
8th, yes.
Just check the
And they will be doing their
calendar.
notice for that date.
Okay, April 8th, okay.
So the March 4th is officially canceled?
Yes, if we have nothing else on, we have nothing to talk about. So that's canceled. And we have March 11th, I believe.
Yes, we have B and D as long as they decide to come back. We have not heard from them.
Okay. All right, so we'll keep that in mind.
I'll keep you.
Okay. And you'll keep us informed as to that. Okay, So I think that's all we have for tonight. So we can have an adjournment.
I have a question for the two attorneys, at least the two attorneys on the call.
Yes.
How does Mallinckrodt skate from their bankruptcy regarding the Bedminster buildings and go do a lease for 100,000 square feet in Perryville?
That's the beauty of bankruptcy. They, right, so they get to walk out of lease obligation 1 and go to lease number 2 at a reduced rate and get that approved by the bankruptcy judge.
Have they even emerged from bankruptcy yet before they went to make this other deal?
Probably not.
Reorganization, bankruptcy reorganization allows you to allows the trustee to void agreements and contracts. And that's how it happens. I'm not saying they did it right. I don't know whether they did or not. I think they're in big trouble on some of the lawsuits against them, but.
Yeah, well, that was the precipitating event for the reorganization.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
The landlord does have an upgraded building.
Yes. It may be empty.
Really nice inside.
And it's nice inside. Colin and I have been through it.
Yep.
It is nice. They certainly brought, I'm not even sure, is that a 90s building, 80s building?
Probably early 90s.
Yeah, and they brought it up to, current technology with the current amenities you would see in there. Place looked really nice.
Yeah.
But now it's empty.
Empty. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
One step ahead and 3 back.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
No move.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good.
Good job, everybody. Good night.
Night, everybody.